this country is at war with Germany.
We had to do a job, and we did the job, and that was it.
The men had to go and fight, and the women had to take their place.
Soldiers, sailors, and airmen of the Allied Expeditionary Force, you are about to embark upon the Great Crusade.
Hello and welcome back, everybody. And this week in the Foxhole, we're going to be talking about preserving history. Something a little bit different, but a continuation on from our AI and research episode. So just a bit of how we can preserve history, where preserves history, and a bit of all sorts, really. So let's start at the beginning. So the original sources generally kept in archives. So they keep obviously the real documents, the artifacts, the photos. They can digitize them for all of us to have a snoop through on the internet. If they're digitized as well, they last for a very long time until somebody pulls the plug and we lose the internet.
Yes. If there's some catastrophic EMP or somebody presses the wrong button, we're a bit screwed. But yes, it's nice to be able to just go onto Google and find original documents, which is always handy, because it's difficult, because I've never been to the National Archives physically, because it's down in Kew, I think. But yes, it's just a nice, easy way for people of all walks of life to access history, which is always a good thing.
Yeah, they're accessible to anyone, like we said, they're right on the internet. So if you can't get to the archives or you can't get to a museum, they're a good way to start your research. And talking about museums hold some archives of their own, but obviously museums have a lot of things on show.
They do. Museums are good for like physical artifacts, aren't they? Whether it be vehicles, weapons, uniforms, that sort of thing. And I Googled it ages ago, like the amount of World War II museums, because obviously there's lots of different museums covering a wide range of topics. But I swear it's in the 40s or 50s, I think, of World War II museums in the UK. So this is Scotland, England, Wales, all combined together. And some are bigger than others, some are more like specialized. The one closest to me that I can think of is probably the Home Front Museum in Llandudno, which obviously, as it does what it says on the tin, it focuses on the home front, whereas you've got your big ones, haven't you? Imperial War Museums here in the UK. And I've only explored a tiny fraction of the ones in Europe, the ones in France, but there's plenty on the list to visit. I don't think we'll ever run out of museums to visit.
No, I don't think so. But museums have different ways of showing their stuff. So they have the stuff on show behind glass. They have the information on boards to read. Some of them have a lot of information, though. You spend more time reading than you do anything else.
Yeah.
Some of them give you a headset, like headphones and a little reading device, so you can like press the number on the thing corresponding to the information on the board as you're walking around, instead of reading it all. Some have
that's really good for like accessibility, isn't it? Because I'm dyspraxic. And I know you're dyslexic as well, aren't you? So for people like me and you, who our brains are wired a bit differently to everyone else, so we need just a bit of a helping hand sometimes, and we still want to absorb the information and enjoy it. So stuff like the headsets is good, I think, not just for everyday, it's good for everyday people, but people with learning difficulties or anything like that. It's good to be able to allow them to be able to experience history as well.
Yeah. A lot of them have like interactive displays as well. So they have a screen and like push a load of buttons and try different experiments. Because the IWM Duxford, their air and space hangar, they have a lot of like spacey
Mm.
type orientated
Mm.
interactive things that you can do and stuff
Yeah.
as well.
Mm.
Some of them put on workshops, sort of like make your own medieval jewelry and bits
Do
and pieces as well.
Yeah, do your classic if it's in like this might be more church based, but like brass rubbings,
Mm,
they'd give you some chalk and you'd do a brass rubbing on like a medieval shield, and it's that's more for like kids, isn't it? The interactive side. But again, it's well, I say it's for kids, but I suppose if it's something cool, people like me and you are going to go, oh, that's really cool. Move out of the way, 6-year-old. I want to see where the dam busters went. I want to see the bombing raids.
mm,
But for the kids aspect, that's good as well. Interact. As a child, you don't want to have to stand there and have your parents trying to read a board to you. You want something, tangible, which is good. So yeah, museums try to cater for all ages and abilities, don't they, sort of thing, which is always good.
yeah. hmm a lot of museums also put on like reenactments and living history events as well. So they have like events on throughout the year and everything. So the difference with reenactment and living history events, you can touch, see, smell, and hear the history, and you can't quite do that in a museum when it's all behind glass.
Yeah, no, exactly. Yeah, I'll hold my hands up. I've never been to any kind of living history or reenactment event yet. But I am excited. I'm very excited to go to We Have Ways Fest this year and see things in the flesh. Because it's like you say, it's one thing to go to a museum and that's a Bren gun, but then you could go to a living history event and someone might be firing one, obviously with blanks. Don't worry, people. No live ammunition is used nowadays. What's it say sometimes on films where it's like no animals were harmed in the making of this film.
Mm.
It's like no history nerds were harmed in the making of this reenactment. I think should be on all reenactment posters.
Yeah.
Uh,
And that experience you probably wouldn't get anywhere else by being able to touch it and
hmm.
hear it.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. I think and this obviously just isn't for the world wars that we, were interested in. There's sometimes where there'll be more, like Napoleonic wars and, that medieval times as well. There'll be reenactments for that. And, I know some people have like, literal suits of armor, knights, that sort of thing. So basically what we're saying is there is a period of history for you. This isn't just about the world wars. There, you can find your niche and you can find your crowd.
Yeah. Just bear in mind, not all reenactors know what they're on about.
Oh, oh! I feel like this is a beef. This is a beef.
No beef. Just well, not on my part anyway. Yeah, I've heard some reenactors, obviously, cribbing about other reenactors, saying, "Oh, they don't know what they're on about, and the
Right.
uniforms
Not
off and
accurate. Yeah,
everything." Yeah.
yeah. I
So,
I think that's kind of is that a bit of a downside to it? Do you think the I tend to joke about the people who push the glasses up and say, oh well, actually, it's I don't know. I think as long as it's not done intentionally, I think if you don't know something, you don't know something.
mm,
If you've got a reenactor who's been doing it for like 10+ years, obviously they're going to know more to someone who's just getting into it. And I think it's the more seasoned reenactors kind of role to kind of not judge, but just go, okay, like just heads up, that isn't the exact patch. And, if you look on this website, these do really good patches for that specific thing that you're, trying to
mm,
portray. I like I say, I've never been down that road. I've never done it, but that's just kind of my take on it, maybe.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there is some that just do the bare minimum just for a weekend piss up, basically, as well.
I mean, who doesn't want to do that? Like you dress up as a British infantryman and you have a couple of beers with your mates, what's not to like?
Yeah, exactly. All reenactors need to get their stuff from somewhere. So this is where all the military affairs and the collectors come in. Military affairs can be rather expensive, though.
Yes, it's funny you should say that actually, because I was looking at trying to get an original RAF like cloth badge that they used to wear, basically the
Mhm.
pilot wings. And I did find one, and it was like 40 quid on eBay. And I was umming and ahhing for ages. I was like, that's a lot. That's a lot of money for essentially, 80-year-old fabric
Mm,
at this point. And I've got a few other patches, and they weren't as much. They were literally, I think, less than a tenner or something like that. But yeah, so some of the stuff is crazy, isn't it? It can be hundreds and thousands, depending on
mm,
what it is and who it's associated with. But it's still good that there are collectors out there. Like we say, they're preserving the history. They're kind of hopefully passing it between fellow people who have the same sort of mindset. It's just, yeah, it can hurt your wallet, it seems.
mm. I looked at an 82nd Airborne patch the other day.
Oh, okay, here we go. Go on.
How much do you reckon?
Oh, okay. It's in the hundreds?
Yeah,
Yeah, go on. What was it?
125 quid.
What? Oh my God. Oh, I mean, if you
For
love if you love the 8 seconds, you're gonna pay that, aren't you?
yeah,
You know.
that was for one type, and then there was another one which I think was either from possibly earlier in the war.
Hmm.
That was even more expensive. I think that was about 250 quid
Oh,
for a bit
yeah.
of cloth about that big.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's funny you should say that. I have a vague memory now of a couple of weeks ago. I was on a military website and I saw it was out of stock. They had a 101st patch, Screaming Eagle, and I think that was maybe 95 or 195. I can't remember. And I saw it. I was like that. A, that'd be really cool to own, and B, no wonder it's out of stock because, like I said, if you love it, you're gonna buy it.
Mm,
And I get it. I get it. I really do. If you have an affinity to a certain unit or regiment or whatever, you're gonna part with the cash. But yeah, it's a bit crazy to hear in these crazy times.
yeah. Some collectors do just do it for the money. So there's Stoneleigh Military Affair.
Okay.
There's an exhibition hall, like a proper exhibition hall there.
Mm,
So they have a military affair every year. I remember going, I think it was last year, because we didn't go this year. And after that one, people were saying it was more expensive than the year before.
right.
So
Okay.
whether stuff's going up in price because it's another year older,
Uh,
or if stuff's just going up in price, you've got a selective audience. If people want to buy something, if they don't want to buy on the internet, a lot of people like looking at militaria in their hands first before they
hmm,
buy it, so they
yeah.
know it's what they're getting.
Yeah. Yeah.
So a lot of people do buy more from the shows,
Hmm.
but yeah, it gets very expensive very quickly.
Yes, yes, I can imagine. But it's yeah, that's a good point you raise actually. Is it because, things are getting older, therefore items are getting more rare? Because, obviously talking about patches here and cloth things, they're going to deteriorate over time. You have to be careful with how you store them and things like that. Or is it, yeah, because if that's kind of people's second income stream, are they putting the prices up because the world in general, things are going up? Is it, it is difficult to figure out, but it's good that so I carrying on my story of trying to find these pilot wings. I just bought a reproduction, and it was I think about a tenner. Oh, no, it was less than a tenner. And it's still made to look exactly the same. It's just that it wasn't worn during the war. you know. And to some people that it did kind of irk me. I'm not gonna lie. I was like, oh, but I wanted the original one. No, you know. But beggars can't be choosers, I suppose,
Yeah.
sometimes.
Yeah, I think price wise it depends. I don't even know if it depends what it is. So I got two razor blades
Okay.
that were actually used as like escape and evasion SOE razor blades because they've got the broad arrow on
Right. Yeah.
and they were therefore magnetized. So if you drop them in a cup of water,
Hmm.
the arrow points to north.
Oh, okay. I did not know that. That's
So
quite cool.
yeah, so you can use them as a compass. So basically, these razor blades just look like a normal razor blade, British made with the broad arrow on.
Hmm.
They'd go into concentration camps in Red Cross parcels.
Hmm. Hmm.
If you know what you're looking at, you could use it as a compass. Because that when you put it in a puddle or a cup of water or whatever, that arrow would point to north.
Hmm.
I got two last week for a fiver.
Wow. Okay.
And then there's somebody else selling the exact same thing for like 20 quid, just one of them. And I got two for a fiver.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
think if you want something, you just need to hunt for it.
Hmm. That's
If you
yeah.
if you
That's
want
a.
yeah, if you want something original, just
Hmm.
hunt around for it. There'll be something somewhere.
Hmm.
But reproduction is a way to go
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely.
for it. If you're not
Yeah.
wanting something specifically for the history, if you just want something specifically to own or show,
Hmm. Hmm.
then just go repro.
Yeah.
Yeah, it will save you a lot of money as well.
Yes. Definitely. Yeah.
A lot of militaria comes to light at like car boot sales in charity
Hmm.
shops because people don't know what they have
Yeah.
potentially, and there's like, oh, it's just been lying around for ages. Let's just get rid of it.
Yeah. Yeah. And that always gets me because then, to that's the everyday person, isn't it? Oh, his granddad's, thing that he kept in the loft for 80 years. And that's the old story, isn't it? How many houses in, let's just say Britain as a whole, there's stuff in the loft that is to do with the war and people don't know about it, but it's only when parents pass away, unfortunately. Oh, got to go through my mum and dad's stuff. Okay, right. And then they find it. And then it's only if you have that presence of mind, there's something that just twigs in your brain. You go, hang on a minute, this doesn't look like just old timey stuff. It could be something significant. And then if
Mm,
some people will, like you say, just donate to a charity shop or sell it at a car boot, but then it's kind of us people who can kind of pick it out, can't we? And go, hang on a minute, that's
mm,
really important. I'll have that. I can use it to make a YouTube video, or or I can, and then you go down a rabbit hole, can't you? Because you could dig into, who it belonged to, what the item was, what it was associated
mm.
with, and then that could spark an interest from somebody. And again, that's preserving the history because the item isn't just being dismissed. It's, being researched and brought back to life in a way, I think.
Yeah. What's your thoughts on buying, like, when he's like looking through eBay or shows or
Mhm.
whatever, you get like packs of photographs,
Yeah.
like soldiers' photographs, and then you get a bit further down, you find like a bunch of letters,
Hmm.
and there's regularly medals and stuff for sale. What do you think about the buying and selling of those? Personally, I'm not a fan
Hmm.
because they're very personal
Hmm.
and it just feels a bit weird.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, if I know I've got them, I know they're going to be well looked after.
Hmm. Yeah. I think that's the conundrum, isn't it? I think it's a tricky one because yeah, are you just you don't want to suddenly turn into this uh, I'm gonna maybe coin a new phrase here, a war hoarder, where you just, you're buying random war things.
Mm,
And but yeah, I think if you're that type of person where if you let's say you find an item, you contact the seller and you say, "Are you related? Is this something personal you're selling?" And if they say no, then you could kind of take that on as a project. You could be like, right, okay, I'll buy it off you, and let me try and find if there's any remaining relatives to pass it on to. I know there's people out there who do that. I think I've come across a guy on Instagram who does it with medals. He will try and get the medal to the relatives. Amazing cause, amazing cause. But I think for people like me and you who kind of do this in our spare time, and we try to make the most of our time, I think taking on a project like that would be very, very daunting. I don't know about you. So it is a tricky one. I've never really had a urge to buy them. I think if it's like kind of less personal, just like an aircraft log or something that you don't know who the person is associated to, maybe that's a bit more, oh, this is a flight log from a Lancaster that flew in 1943 or whatever. That might be a bit easier to buy because it's not got that personal tie, maybe.
I do have a pack of photos, which are actually quite interesting. They're from like Egypt, over that way, because there's pictures of the pyramids and
Wow,
stuff
that's
as well.
cool. Yeah.
But I think I only got them because the listing was like, I want them gone, sort of thing. It's
Right.
like, if you want them gone and they don't sell, what are you going to do to them?
Yeah.
And they were relatively cheap as well.
Well, there we go.
Yeah, it was more of a, that's history and somebody's photos. What are you going to do with them?
Yeah.
It's like, I'll have them and then they can just sit quietly in a box for a bit.
Hey, who knows? You might eventually go on holiday to Egypt, and then you could do a then and now. You could try and line
Quite
it
possibly.
up. Yeah. You never
We'll
know.
have to wait and see. Stay tuned, maybe, for that in about 50 years' time, possibly.
Yeah.
So, ways of researching. You've got books, documentaries, movies, video games. If they're done right, they're very good. So obviously we're working our way through Band of Brothers. You've obviously got their other series of Masters in the Air, the Pacific. Hell Let Loose is a video game. Like accuracy wise, is pretty good. It's up there. Obviously you've got your books from your decent historians as well.
Who are we casting as decent there? Is it a man by the name of James Holland, perhaps, and
Of course.
Al Murray, perhaps?
Along with others, obviously. If anybody
Yes,
else is
yes.
listening, we do like other
I mean,
historians.
how can I forget? If you haven't already checked out, we had a legitimate World War II author as our first guest. My friend, our
Yes.
friend Geraint Jones.
Yep. And again, with some documentaries, they don't get stuff right. They use like a lot of wrong archival footage.
It's a bit like, is it a bit like, so bear with me on this one. So the Formula One movie came out a couple of years ago, I can't remember when. And as a diehard fan, I struggled to watch that because you pick out bits, don't you? You go, well, that wouldn't happen, and that wasn't from that race, and that, they wouldn't say that, and that wouldn't happen. So I imagine it's the same with documentaries, and films as well, World War II films. Very famously, I don't know if you've seen it, you probably have, of James Holland getting very angry at Fury.
Yes.
And people, if you haven't watched it, go watch it. It went kind of viral because he doesn't, he's not shouting, but you can tell with the tone of his voice, he's going, they just wouldn't talk like that. And, Brad Pitt's too old. And, things like that. So yeah, when they're done right, they're done well. But when there's glaring inaccuracies, it kind of irks historians, doesn't it?
I think you can let it off a bit more with movies because obviously, you've got this story in history, but then this movie needs to make money and be a blockbuster. So some of it's going to have to be dramatized because if you're spending 3 hours in a battle, with how long of that 3 hours is actually fighting, there's people sending messages and bits and pieces, and quite frankly, I won't sit through a 3-hour movie. So you're going to have to condense it all down, dramatize it to make it enjoyable. You're going to have top names playing the main characters to bring in the money to get people to go and see it. I think there's less leeway with the documentaries because it's a documentary, it's meant to be factual. A good well, a key thing that some documentaries get wrong is generally when they're talking about the Spitfire and the hurricanes. So there's a clip of a hurricane wing that's been tattered and it's all flapping in the breeze because hurricanes were made of wood and fabric and stuff, and Spitfires were metal, so Spitfires won't flap in the breeze. But when they're talking about Spitfires, they'll use this clip of a hurricane wing. And it's like, no, it's wrong.
Do you know, I don't know if you know this, but that I heard that apparently a lot of the archival footage that is used in documentaries, you see the same clips because of it's to do with rights and things like that and how much the clip costs to use. So the same clips are used because they're either just in public domain or they're just free to use. Whereas there's other clips that are behind kind of more strict paywalls and things like that, and you have to pay a fortune to get them, which I think is wrong. I think if there's archival footage, by all means, give credit to whoever owns it. But then again, it's really weird because you think of Imperial War Museum, and you can go on their website and they've got loads of pictures, and they have the watermark of IWM. And I think, okay, you store it and you maintain it, but you're not the owner because you didn't take it. The person who took it is more likely passed away at this point, so it's in public domain. So I think that's a bit of a slippery slope and a bit of a tricky one of who really owns the archival footage. And then if you're paying for it, where's the money going? If it's going to a museum and it's maintaining it, amazing, love it. We're all for that. But if it's going into some bigwig's pocket, then I think that's a bit dodgy, personally.
Yeah. So there's a Bomber Command game. So obviously, like, you get your crew.
Yep.
You get in your little plane. You go off and bomb wherever you're going to bomb. They come back. They earn experience points. You level them up. Obviously, the more leveled up your crew are, the less likely you are to want to use them because they're experienced and you keep building the crew up. If a plane gets shot down or a member gets killed, when you get back to base, this crew member's name goes up onto a wall of the missing in the game. What do you think about that?
Are you coming at it from the angle of, is that kind of trivializing
morally?
Yeah. I don't know, because video games are again a tricky one, and I've said that a lot in this episode. But I think video games are a tricky one because if you look at, say, Call of Duty, for example, you've got the original Call of Duties from the early 2000s, and they were, obviously terrible graphics compared to nowadays, but they were very, very, or they were as historically accurate as they could be, and then you've got Call of Duty World at War, which was very, very well praised for its accuracy. And then fast forward to Call of Duty World War II, and it's not, the Allies versus the Nazis, it's the Allies versus the enemy team, so then it's kind of censored. And, I kind of get that to a degree, because people don't like to say certain words or mention certain people's names. I totally get that. But yeah, with video games, it is a tricky one of, do you go for 100% accuracy of showing the horrors, or do you water it down, or do you do something like this Bomber Command game, that you're mentioning here, where it's still the game, but is it morally, and is it trivializing it? I think that one is completely subjective, and some people won't have a problem with it. But other people, it might rub them up the wrong way, and I totally get that.
A relatively new way of getting artifacts and stuff is 3D printing.
Oh yes, of course, yes.
And I have examples.
Amazing. Oh, I love that. That's so cool. I love that. Yeah,
So,
that's
I
amazing.
mean, you can have and do pretty much anything.
Viewers who are listening, why are you
Yeah,
not watching us on YouTube as well? But for
correct.
viewers who are listening, Katie's an avid 3D printer and she's currently showing off her grenades, which are obviously not, they're 3D printed, they're not live.
Yeah,
Don't worry,
they're not
people.
real.
Don't
Not
call
real.
the police or bomb disposal. Everyone's safe, don't worry. Um, but yeah, they're really cool. They're really cool.
Yeah, but so I've got a cutout of a grenade. Oh God, there you
Oh,
go.
oh, oh,
That's the
bang.
house.
That's it.
That's the
That's
house
it.
just
Podcast
gone
is
up.
finished.
But to cut a grenade in half is going to take some doing.
Yeah, yeah. Even if it's
And
a deactivated one, like that's going to be tricky, right?
yeah, I mean that took probably a couple of hours to do.
Yeah.
I mean it's plastic.
Hmm.
But I mean reenactors use 3D printers. I mean a 3D printed grenade hanging on your uniform from a distance is going to look fine. I
Yeah.
mean you could do stuff. So that's a Japanese grenade.
Ah, cool.
Where else
Wow.
are you gonna get? I mean, it's got the writing on it
Yeah, that's amazing.
as well. So where else are you
Yeah.
gonna get a Japanese grenade from?
I mean, exactly. The only other way I can think of is if you go on holiday to Iwo Jima and you troll through the jungle to try and find one. And even then, you're probably not going to find one. And if you are, it's going to be rusty. And this way, it could be very dangerous.
Yes, and it
Um,
might go bang on the way home.
exactly. Nobody wants that.
Yeah,
Um, so
so
yeah, exactly.
you can do all sorts of any
Oh, oh,
size.
that's cool.
So that's an American mortar. I've got a life-size Panzerfaust
Yes, you have, haven't you? Yeah, yeah, yeah,
downstairs.
yeah.
To me, I looked to buy one after I'd done that just to see like the price. So the tube
Hmm.
alone was just 300 quid.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
So that took me a week to
Hmm.
print in between like work shifts
Yeah, yeah.
and 30 quid to make.
I mean, that's a significant saving there, you know.
It certainly is. And then you can make tank shells
Oh, that's amazing.
as well.
That's amazing. Do
So
you know what? Do you know what?
that's
This is a really good advert for, like what we're talking about, preserving history. Because, like you said, where you can
yeah,
find these things, and you can see the difference. Was that an American grenade? The first one.
first one, yeah, that
The
one.
Yeah. So there you
Yeah,
go. So,
pineapple.
so you've got the American one, and then you can see the difference between the American and the Japanese, and that's super interesting because then you go, this is how these two nations came up with the same solution, really. How do we make a grenade? Well, there's the American and there's the Japanese take, and then the British take would have been different.
There's your
Again,
German take as well.
exactly, exactly. There you go. There you go. Yeah, yeah. So you can learn from that, and you can show people that, if you were, let's say you're a teacher, you're a history teacher, what better way um, to, engage with kids, whether they be teenagers, in high school or, primary school age. If you show them something, surely they're going to be more engaged than just let me read this to you, or let me show you pictures on a PowerPoint presentation. I think that's a really good
Yeah, I mean,
tool to have.
if you pass around a 3D printed grenade around the class, it's going to get everybody engaged. You can fit.
Yeah.
I haven't got any springs on them, but you can fit springs. So when you pull the pin
Oh,
and let the handle go, the handle will fly off.
that's cool. Yeah.
So like stuff actually works. I've got a bouncing Betty mine
Hmm.
as well that clicks. So if you put pressure on the top pins,
Hmm.
that clicks. So stuff is working. It just
Yeah.
hasn't got the explosive in. Obviously, Mum's convinced I'm going to blow the house up one day because I'm printing various tank shells and grenades of various sizes.
Yeah, my mum would be the same. Yeah, yeah.
But they're fun to make because
Mm.
it all just slots together, pushes together. I mean, you can glue it all, you can do whatever, you can paint it all print it all one colour and then paint it.
Yeah.
You can add weather into it to make it
Yeah.
look original.
This
They're
this raises a good question, actually. So do you think, kind of going down like the topic, we're talking about preserving history, would you say that, printing those things, and then if people want to paint them and weather them, would you say it's A, preserving the history, and then B, it's good for yourself, it's good for like mindfulness and kind of mental health, because you're being creative at the end of the day, aren't you? You're making something. Would you agree with that?
Yeah. So when I've been reenacting, obviously I do war correspondent. A war correspondent has no need for a 88mm high explosive tank shell. So I'm not going to go out and buy one. Apart from the fact that I'd weigh an absolute ton and would probably fall through my bedroom floor and land in the middle of the kitchen.
Yeah. Yeah.
And like printing it all and then putting it together. I spent my day off work last week painting a couple of grenades because they didn't have the markings on. It was just a bare shell. So I got the print files came with stencils, so you could print
Oh,
the
cool.
stencil, stick the
Mm.
stencil on, and then literally like just paint it or colour it in or whatever.
Mm.
As well, that was just really relaxing. Just
Yeah.
colouring in grenades as you do
Yeah.
on your day off. That's like totally normal thing to do.
Yeah. I mean, who isn't doing that? If you're not doing that, you're a bit strange, if you ask me,
Yeah. I agree completely. The cheaper, lighter, it's loads of fun to do. There's absolutely everything that you can possibly think of to print somewhere
Yeah.
as well.
I'd be dangerous with
So,
that. I don't think I could have one. I'd be dangerous. My house would be full of things, and it'd be bursting out the doors. Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
But
my
go
house,
like go on.
my house is getting that way. At the minute, I'm confined to a box, but the box is getting rather full.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
It's the same with me with books. Like I've got so many on my to be read list, but um, it's again there are we kind of touched on books a little bit before, but they're another good way for preserving history, because you've got the more detailed ones, or you've got the more, ones that have maybe maps in that are more like
mm,
illustrative, and you can visualize, oh, okay, so that's where that unit was, and that's what they were trying to achieve, and stuff like that. And again, that's good for all people who might not necessarily be able to take in the information from, say, like a 300-page book, but if it's got
mm,
illustrations alongside, then they can still learn about it and, again, preserve the history.
yeah. So my final point of preserving history that I could think of is the social media
Mm,
aspect of things. So a lot of museums have social media pages, so they post on about their events coming up. Some of them highlight artifacts and their stories. Obviously, you've got history YouTubers. So obviously, we've both got a YouTube channel. There's like History Underground, World War II Wayfinders, all those guys keeping stories and facts alive.
mm, yeah. Yeah. I think that's the main motivation for me, is you don't want them to get forgotten about. And it's nice to be able to come across things and go down rabbit holes and go, oh, I don't know about this topic, let me research this. And then you're passing it on to wider people, and then you come across like-minded people like me and you. We became friends through, you know, this kind of hobby and having a YouTube channel and being obsessed with the war. Um, so it's nice to you can start preserving the history yourself, but then you come across like-minded people, and then you almost feel like you're working together. I don't know if that sounds a bit weird, but would you agree? Like
Mm.
we've all got like one common goal. It's not for fame. It's not for to be an influencer. Um, it's to, like you say, keep the stories alive.
Yeah. Top of YouTubers, you've got your podcasts and everything as well.
Yeah.
So, anything you've thought of along the way?
No, I think that we dived into lots there, didn't we? That was quite
We
a
did.
we jumped around a lot there. We hope you
Mm.
enjoyed that kind of varied look, and if you can think of any other ways that we could possibly better preserve history, do let us know. And make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss more cool topics where Katie shows off her amazing 3D printed items. And yes, like I said before, we hope you'd enjoyed.
Yeah, so that's us signing off for this week in the Foxhole, and we'll catch you next week in the Foxhole for whatever next week's topic might be. We'll see you then.